Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode from Carl's Cycle Supply. This video is about a fun project we just wrapped up for a customer out east. This really cool 1960 Harley Davidson Panhead showed up at the shop tired, beaten, and down on its luck. We did a mechanical rebuild on what was there, fixed any problems we ran across, and installed some neat police accessories that the owner had sourced. In the end, it was fun to bring this Panhead back to its former hot pursuit glory. Thanks to everyone for watching and those of you that subscribe to the channel. Alright, here is a 1960 Harley Davidson FL. Harley made about 5,900 of these, and they are pretty awesome bikes. I'm sure the mileage was low, but buying a bike like this is kind of like buying an ambulance. It's low mileage, but half the miles were wide open, so it's really it's really an anomaly in that sense because they lived a tough life. Were asked to do a lot of things, and then when their time was up and they got some new bikes or new cars or new ambulances, they just kind of got thrown away and discarded. But unfortunately, the Legend Begins book doesn't give a breakdown on how many of them are cot bikes, foot shift bikes, or hand shift bikes. This bike is from Virginia. We did a mechanical restoration on it for a customer, and when we got it, it was painted all white, and he wanted to paint it black and white and have us go through the motor and transmission. It had a 48 to 52 speedometer on it, so we don't really know how many miles were on the bike, but the pistons were standard size. It had an excessive amount of clearance, and the valve stems to guides and the cylinders to walls, and everything was just really wore out. And the whole engine was packed with sludge and just carbon buildup. I just imagine it sitting behind some billboard type thing, idling for hours on end while this guy was just waiting for speeding motorists to go by him and then go give him a ticket. The customer found the fake radio box and the receiver and had us put them on, and the tanks were in really good condition. All the tabs were nice, the studs in the back were nice, but the fenders were in terrible shape. Something that kind of plagues these early duo glides is this sheet metal getting ripped out in this back spacer. The front fender was so mangled that it was just cheaper and made more sense to find some better fenders. So we sourced some and then got them on the bike. Something that's cool about it that makes it stand out from regular 60s is it has black crash bars, handlebars, rims, and I think it looks really cool. It also has a steering dampener, which most dual glides don't have. So we had to go through every little corner of it. We did the wheels, the brakes. I had to repair the frame. We flushed the oil tank, and it's ready for another 60, 70, 80 years of service. It's really an awesome motorcycle. It's fun to ride. It does everything it's supposed to do. The seat was in terrible condition. We found this nice one with a good patina that matched. When we painted it black and white, we painted it with single stage paint, just like original, but it was kind of a little too shiny. So what we ended up doing was taking just a brown paper bag and just kind of going over it to give it some natural scratches, and I think it's really pretty convincing and looks really awesome. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's got original anodized aluminum pan covers, original cast D-rings. These are sand cast ones. It still has the steel pushrod covers. I'm not sure when they came out with aluminum ones. I think maybe in like 61 or 2. And it also has a trumpet horn, which is the biggest pain in the butt when you want to do service or maintenance on those things, because it covers up the push rods, it covers up tightening up the cylinder base nuts, the head bolts. It's really a pain in the butt. But it's original and it's cool, so I understand leaving it on there. Here is the cool side of the bike. There's a lot more going on over here than on the right side. A lot of the special police equipment is on the left side. Here you can see the radio box that we talked about earlier, and down here is the siren, which is operated by your heel. You press this pedal and it pushes this little spud against the tire and it spins up and makes noise. It's really, really cool. If you look up here, this is the receiver and the talker box for the radio. This is something that the customer supplied. We do not have the stuff for inside the saddlebags, which is where the mechanisms would have went to make it work. It's just for show. but it's very cool. It's very heavy. We made this cool little bracket to mount it after looking at dozens of pictures online and trying to figure out exactly how the radios worked on police duo glides. I tried looking up the information and couldn't find it. I know that in the 30s and 40s, the radio cost almost as much as the entire new motorcycle. So a lot of times when police departments would put the bikes up for auction to get new ones, they would hold the radios back. So if you look at old pictures, you'll see some have the receiver mounted here, some have it on the handlebar, some have it over here. It was just really rider preference and police reference. Another cool police thing that's over here is the magnet release lock for the speedo lock. They didn't have radar back then, so cops were a lot sneakier, and they'd come up behind you and go the same speed as you, lock the speedo, pull you over, and then say, hey, look at my speedometer. You were breaking the law. It's time to pay up, sucker. And then they'd have to reset the speedometer so that it would work again. Moving back to 60. 60 is the first year of this awesome headlight nacelle. And this is die cast. And they use this, boy, all the way up into the 70s or 80s. And then I think it's kind of what they copied when they came out with the road cane. This being a police bike, you could special order parts of the bike in black or painted finish. I've seen some of them with like painted fork soup cans and legs. Some of them with painted nacelles. This one, it has black handlebars. It has black crash bars, front and rear. It's also tank shift, which is really cool and fun to ride. So it was really worn out when we started, but looking at it and seeing what it turned into makes me feel really good and makes me feel really happy. So the last cool thing worth mentioning on this is the kickstand. The kickstand has this really cool little dog leg out on it. And I didn't really understand why it was there until we put the siren on. And when you go like this and kick it up, you can see that the dog leg is to come out past the siren. You know, like this is the little activation pedal and bracket, but the officer needed that extra leg just to get it on there. So this is a 1960 duo glide. This is the second year of the half frames is what we call them. Well, I call them half frames because it's missing the back half and it has a swing arm and these space age shocks. And unfortunately it really took on, and modern bikes still have shocks on them. But one of the problems that plagued these bikes early on was the frame breaking right here. And Harley actually, in their dealer bulletins, talked about this little reinforcement plate that they'd ship out to dealers and then have them welded in. And then I think some of the later frames even had that installed in the factory. I'm not sure what year, but I'm sure one of you guys out there knows. This frame was broken, and we added in that piece. It had been welded right here, and it looked like a good weld, but I thought it was in our best interest to still add this just in case we had any problems. And something I learned along the process of working on this bike and building it with my dad and Everett and the other guys was that the left crash bar kicks out more for room for the siren. And then there's this little junction box that is for the hydraulic rear brake. And on siren bikes, they put this little tab in to move it down to make room for everything. And it's just really cool to have all the right stuff on it. Very cool bike. It was fun to do. I'm happy with how it turned out. And I think the owner will really love having something he can depend on and use and enjoy.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in to the next episode where we'll be going over beautiful restorations and motorcycling adventures here at Carl's Cycle Supply.